Hello. Hey. Hi. Okay. Is our camera active? I don't know. Is the mic on? I can't tell. Okay. Well, hello there. Welcome to day 2 of the National Convention. I'm Bill G. I currently sit on the Board of Trustees, and I am an Akashic Dowser. Sounds like a confession. But I've been doing Akashic Dowsing for, like I said, over 20 years. I first started learning with the spiritual response therapy charts, and then I branched out into other chart systems. Last year, I gave a lecture on how you can turn your personal library into your own dowsing chart. And so this lecture is actually an extension on that, using a book that I particularly enjoy called Ask and It Is Given, the Principles of the Law of Attraction. And within that book is a 22-point emotional scale in which Abraham describes how we manifest what we want versus what we don't want. And because emotion is energy, and what's cool about the chart, and actually cool about really anything that you're interested in as dowsers, is that anything can become a chart. Any book that you read. I have a chart on the Cindy Dale complete book of chakra healing. I may make that my lecture next year, I don't know. But it's, if you have anything that has like points or has things that you can go back to over and over again and get something new out of it each time, like the emotional scale or something like that, you can turn it into a chart. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Anybody here who is familiar with the law of attraction? Excellent, excellent. How many of you have actually read the book Ask and It Is Given? Few? Excellent, excellent. So, little side story on the genesis of this chart is from 2018 to around 2020, I was co-host on a podcast called LOA Today with Walt Thiessen, and his whole shtick was the law of attraction. So, because he read this book and he thought this would make a great podcast, and at the time he was recording episodes. Actually, he was broadcasting them live 5 days a week, every week, and each podcast was an hour long. And it's amazing how much you can talk about with the law of attraction because not only is it a very popular topic, it's so simple, which is what's so amazing about it. It's about vibration. It's where I am versus where I want to be. Okay, and so the chart was actually his idea. We were actually on a podcast once, and he was like, "That should be a chart." Because I was telling him about the spiritual response therapy at the time, and he was like, "No, that should be a chart." And I was like, "Okay, I'll make it into a chart." And we made it into a chart, and then I started using it, and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." How I use the chart when I'm in session with a client is, first of all, I ask the pendulum to take me to whatever chart system that I happen to be using. And I've got lots of different chart systems. I use the spiritual response therapy, I use my time temple charts, I use ones that I've come up with, and Abraham-Hicks happens to be one of the chart systems. And it depends on the question. You know, what kind of question are we asking about our whatever question that we have. And that's what we do as dowsers. We ask a question, and the more specific the question, the more specific the answer is going to be. And a lot of times people will come to me and ask, you know, I'm feeling stuck in my life, or I feel like I have something that I want to do, and I can't quite get it. It's you know, I try really hard to have
a better relationship, or I'm trying very hard to have a better career and whatever. And where am I going wrong? Okay? And so we are often taken to this particular chart. Now, when you look at the chart itself, it's the 22-point scale. And yeah, most of the stuff here is negative, but Abraham reminds us that the words are not so important here, because there's actually only two emotions, ones that make you feel good and ones that make you don't feel so good. Okay, so if you only so those are really the only two emotions. All the other words are just words. They're just the blah 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 of the English language, and the English and language in general is extremely limiting, because our non-physical friends don't speak in that kind of language. They have to interpret through our mouths. Even when you have a channel like Ester Hicks or Carla Ruckert, or these channels who are channeling these fifth density high beings through them, they still had to use their vocabulary in order to come up with words that people can understand. Because our non-physical friends do recognize what emotion is, because they understand vibration, and they understand the gradation of vibration. But we put words on them. But like, for example, you got on the scale here, you got doubt being a lower emotion than pessimism. And doubt and pessimism, some people are like, well, doubt and pessimism are the same thing. But, the scale is very different on that. And so there's nuance in the language that some people understand and some people don't understand. It doesn't matter. So when you look at the chart, rather than looking at it being hung up on the words, you should probably more think of it as a number chart going from 0 to 100, with 100 being your highest vibration, that which you can manifest in a very, very positive way, and 0 being you are manifesting, but you're manifesting everything you don't want. Because that's how the emotional scale works. The lower you are, the lower your vibration, the more you're going to be an energetic match for that which you don't want. It's like, and because every desire is actually two desires. It is the desire for the thing that I want, and it's the desire for the thing I don't want. Whatever your emotions are focused on, where your emotions are the strongest, that's what you're going to attract. And a common question is, I desire $1 million. Well, do you desire $1 million because you feel yourself having that $1 million? Or do you desire that $1 million because you don't have $1 million and you really, really wish you knew you're going to pay the mortgage this month? Well, if your fear about not being able to pay the mortgage, or not being able to pay your bills, or not getting what you want is the dominant emotion, that is exactly what you'll get. No matter how many exercises you do, or how many times you say to the mirror, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, if all you feel is, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself, that is all you're going to get. Where your emotions are is where you will where your emotional set point is. Okay? Now, how do we raise our emotions? First of all, we got to figure out, where the heck are we? And some people look at the chart and it's like, oh, I'm at joy. I am feeling joyful. And then you ask the question, where am I right now? With regard to, again, you have to attach it to a specific question. If you don't, it's like, how am I feeling today? Well, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I mean, but we attach it to, hey, how do I feel right now with regard to my significant other? Where am I right now with my significant other right now? My emotional scale went to positive expectations and beliefs, because I love my wife very much. But it could be better. It's not all the way up to the top. Jeez, positive expectations. Well, that's cool. I want it to be better. Anybody have an example here of a question that they would
they would typically ask something like this. Where are they on the emotional scale?
My job, maybe?
Well, your job. Okay, so where is my emotional set point right now with regard to my job? Okay, I got a lot of jobs, so I got to be very specific. All right, so my job regarding as, oh boy, I put myself on the spot here. As trustee to the American Society of Dowsers, oh, that put me all the way to the top. I got to give myself a something else. I actually really like my job with the trustees. Okay, with my job at the tax office. No, that's already went all the way to the top too. Gosh, what's a job I hate right now? I like my job. Huh? Chores. I have chores. With regard to cleaning the bathroom. Oh, I really hate cleaning the bathroom. It goes to anger. That darn bathroom hates me. I put in a brand new toilet not even a year ago, and the darn thing the tank doesn't fill. You got to open up the tank and push a button to get the tank to fill. It drives me nuts. Okay, so that's where I am right now with cleaning my bathroom. I'm at anger. That is not a really great place to be, because you know what's going to happen? That toilet is not going to fix itself. And it's not going to get any better at any time. So that's where my emotional set point is. So now that I know where it is, I can, with intention, say, okay, please, Spirit, please raise my emotional set point. I want it to be a little higher than that. And so you can ask, and while you are asking, imagine yourself you're cleaning that bathroom, and everything's working, everything's so clean, and you feel so good about doing your business in the bathroom. I don't know why the bathroom came up. Because I've obviously got strong emotions when it comes to that. Okay, so I put that up high. Okay, and now I'm going to check it again. And where am I right now? Yeah, it barely moved up. It went up to doubt. Still not a very, so now instead of being angry at it, I now doubt it will ever get clean. Okay? But we have to acknowledge, though, that doubt is 2 steps above anger. That's a win. And Abraham talks about that as well, because it is sometimes very difficult, is often impossible. If I went from anger to joy, I'm fooling myself. Because that is a leap that none of us can take. We can't go from anger to joy in 30 seconds. Because you're angry for a reason. And sometimes it's a very long-seated reason. And sometimes it can be something from your past. It could be due to some abuse. It could be due to the fact that darn bathroom never gets clean, and you got mold on the ceiling and whatever. It's just you go in there and you're like, ew. Okay, now I've raised the vibration of it. It's now into doubt. Well, is doubt going to get me a clean bathroom? Probably not. Probably not. Joy will probably get me a clean bathroom somehow. How? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone else will do it for me. Maybe my son will get off his butt and actually clean it for me. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? It would make me so happy if he would actually do that. And that way I don't have to do it. And that would make me feel so joyful. Ooh, hey, look at that. Now I've raised my emotional my set point, because I'm imagining my dear loving son actually getting off his computer and doing it not because he thinks it's disgusting, but because he knows how much I dislike doing this, and he wants to do something really nice for me because he loves me so much. Happy Father's Day. Yes. So now that's part of that Imagineering exercise that's on the back. When you're Imagineering, you are imagining that point of being in a higher vibration. And so let's check that again. Where are we now? Hey, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. I went from doubt to pessimism. Okay. Yes. That it would be so wonderful. There's another exercise. The wouldn't it be great if, and wouldn't it be great if you put in the wouldn't it be great if my son would clean my bathroom just because he loves me. And then again, the point of the whole exercise is to fool your field and to imagine yourself in a higher vibration so that way you can get more of what you want. I'll tell you a wonderful story that just happened to me a few weeks ago. And it's a great example of Imagineering at work. My wife and I have been with only one vehicle for a long time, and we needed a second vehicle. We needed a minivan. Some people know this story, but yeah. We really needed a minivan, but because my wife does the farmer's market, and she's got a big tent. She's got a lot of products. She does greeting cards and stickers, and she's always coming up with new stuff. And it just got too much stuff with the tent and everything for our Venza. Our Venza just can't hold it all anymore. So we needed a minivan to do this. And I just got my bonus from doing taxes, and so I was like, hey, cool, we can actually put a down payment on this thing and actually get a decent payment plan. That'd be fantastic. Okay, and so she started going shopping online for minivans, and she was looking like Chrysler Pacificas and all these great minivans that were way out of our price range, way out of our price range, and she was like. And then she started looking in the used car market, and she was like, "Oh my God, these cars are pieces of crap. The only ones we can afford are these terrible cars." So she was in a very low vibration place when she was going shopping for that car. And I said, "Please stop. I got this. I've got this because I know." Because I've been doing these exercises, I imagine myself at the car dealership going home with that new car that day. The price, the absolute perfect vehicle at the price I can afford, with a very smooth process, and a salesperson that I liked so much I'd send him a Christmas card. And I asked my pendulum, "Where's that going to be?" And now, I didn't have any chart in front of me, but the word came in Queensbury, New York, which is about an hour away from where I live. So like, okay, and so I told my wife, we're going to Queensbury on May 23rd. We're going to Queensbury, and we're going to go home with a car with a minivan. And this was like 2 weeks before it happened. She was like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "Trust me, I know because I've already Imagineered this thing." I can already tell you what color it is, and I can already tell you that you're going to love it. Okay? And so, the day before the 23rd, I did some research, found a 2018 Grand Caravan, and so I called up the dealership. I said, "Hey, is this still on the lot?" And they're like, "No, but we have a 19." And the 19 was $3,000 less than the 18 that they had listed. And I said, "Great, I'll see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow." I go in, we meet the salesman. The salesman is like the sweetest guy you'll ever meet. And his wife is an artist who does sculpture chocolate. And so she was a very nice person, and we drove home with that car that day. It was the price we can afford. We got the payment plan we wanted to. They said, "Okay, we're going to need a cashier's check from your bank in order to close the deal." And where I live, I don't have any bank branches where I am because I do all my online banking. But the bank branch is right across the street from the car dealership. I didn't know it was there in that morning. I had no idea that we needed the cashier's check. I didn't. But when we got there, it was like, "Oh, look at that! It was our bank." So, while they were getting the car ready, we walked over to the bank. Got the cashier's check, and it was Boom, 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 done deal. It's in the parking lot right now. It's beautiful. But that's just an example of when you're in that high vibration space and you remove the doubt, you already imagineer yourself having it and already put yourself in that high vibration. And the thing is, I was not worried about whether or not we were going to be able to afford it. I was not thinking about, oh, my insurance is going to go up and whatever. All of that stuff is lack. I put all that out of my mind. I don't care. I'm doing great. I have everything I could possibly want. We live in a very, very abundant universe. And it happened. It happened. I got the exact vehicle I wanted, and I got exactly what I wanted, and all the terms I got. Yes, sir.
Bill, when you set your parameters, it's just like dowsing.
Yep.
You're setting your parameters. How do the parameters work out with your wife?
Well, okay, so the question is, all right, I set my dowsing and I set my parameters very clearly, and how did it work out for her?
Did you include her in your parameters?
I included what she wanted, because she told me that the car needs. We had a $6,000 down payment, and she said we can't pay. I want a $250 a month financing, and I was like, my first thought was, okay, why don't you tie both hands behind my back?
When I'm dowsing for a well, I have to include the perfect spot
Yep.
for the well driller and for the house homeowner.
Yep.
And you got to meet both parameters.
You absolutely.
Please just cover that a little bit. This car has to meet all my wife's expectations.
Exactly. It has to meet and that was part of the parameter, because she gave me what her parameter was that she believed was impossible. And I was like, and my knee jerk was, this is impossible. And I was like, wait a second, I'm going to put that aside. We're just going to make it happen. And then while we got the payment up to $280 a month, well, that's only because we were so pleased with the $250 a month, and it was literally $250 a month was the monthly payment. We were so pleased with that. We'll get the extended warranty. What the heck? We can afford that extended warranty, because my mind was, because I already budgeted like $310 a month. It's like, so we were already winning. So sure, we'll get that undercoating and the extended warranty. Why not? They'll clean if we spill something in the car, they'll clean all the upholstery for free. My gosh, you can't say no to that. Especially when you've already got everything you wanted. Now all the rest of that was just cake. So, just to backtrack a little bit again on what we do when we do Akashic Dowsing, or when we are dowsing for trying to figure out what it is, where we are stuck. Again, what I could have done is, again, I've been doing this for a long time, so when you do this long enough, you sometimes don't even need to go to the charts anymore. You can just say, okay, well, all right, where are my blocks here? Sometimes I have to go to my charts, because sometimes it lives in the subconscious to the point where I'm like, oh, I have no idea why I feel stuck right now, or where my resistance points are. That's what's another thing that Abraham talks about, is resistance points. What is my resistance to this higher level emotional scale? And that's when you need to break out the charts, because this is a wonderful chart to show you where you are, but it's not such a great chart with the why. Why am I not in that higher place? That's when you turn to your other charts. That's when you turn to your diagnostic charts, or you turn to your, for me, we've got my time temple charts, and this afternoon I'm teaching a workshop on the healing the twin flame within restructuring. It's a chart system based on Chinese cosmology, and it's designed specifically to heal yourself so that way you can have a better relationship with other people. It's another chart system we came up with, and again, it's a Chinese cosmology is researched by Mickey Osanki. It's a 7-volume set on, on esoteric acupuncture. I do not recommend you read it unless you're an acupuncturist because it is boring. This is something you're really, really into. But it's because the scholarship is excellent and whatever. It's just, even graduate level students have a hard time with that one because it's very esoteric. But what we did was we boiled it down to a chart system. So again, that would be another chart system that you would turn to if you are guided to by your pendulum, if that is the problem. And what I love about Akashic Dowsing is it surprises the heck out of me every single time because it uncovers stuff that, you ask a question and you're like, I have a suspicion, my conscious mind has a suspicion what the problem is. This is my emotional stuck point and whatever, and my resistance point, and I want to raise it up. Okay, now I'm going to let go of all expectation, and then I'm just going to douse it, and I'm going to see what happens, and I'm going to go to all the chart systems and whatever, and write them all down, take my little narrative there, and then all of a sudden a narrative comes up, and you're like, holy crap, I thought I licked that one. Nope, they have some deep-seated trauma or some doubt or whatever, so something that I thought I worked on years ago is still very much in my subconscious, and it is creating a resistance point, and it is preventing me from getting what I want. And that's what Akashic Dowsing reveals. And at that point, you give it permission to get the heck out of Dodge, to leave your conscious system, or leave your subconscious. And that's easy, because all you do is ask. Again, it's that ask and you will receive. Ask for it to clear out of your system. Ask it to purify because, like Dr. Peel keeps saying, that we are going into this scalar energy. We're becoming scalar beings. We can get whatever we want. We can create whatever world we want to live in simply by asking. We live in an abundant universe. And it's so simple. Yet so challenging for so many of us because we are so stuck in our loops. We are so stuck in our traumas that it's so hard to get out of that stuckness, and especially if it lives in the subconscious. Most of the time, we're not even aware it's there. So again, that's why that's one of the tools of dowsing. We can douse that subconscious, and we can pry open that Akashic record, and we can find out exactly what's going on, and then we give it permission to get the heck out of Dodge and make our lives better. And I'll tell you another quick story of when I've been doing this work for 20 years, but while I was doing this work for the first 15 years of my life, I was also working in corporate accounting and that kind of sort of stuff, and I was absolutely miserable doing that work. I couldn't wait to get home to do my Akashic Dowsing because it made me feel so good. But that's not what its purpose is. Its purpose is not to make you feel good. It's to reveal your shadows so that way you can fix things. But my intention, whenever I got out my pendulum, whatever, is please show me something to make me feel good. And it was more than happy to oblige. And it made me feel good. But then I went back to my miserable life. And then something dawned on me one day, because what I did was I quit my corporate job. Actually, I was laid off, but I quit my corporate job. And then for the next few years, I thought I would just concentrate on doing this work. And that's when I developed the time temple charts and all that stuff. And we did all this research, and we came up with a really cool, very accurate Akashic Dowsing system that I still use. But I still wasn't making a whole lot of money doing it. I wasn't experiencing the abundance that I really wanted. But then I was doing taxes on the side. It's just a sort of a side gig. And then I discovered, hey, wait a second, I really enjoy doing this. I love meeting with clients. I love making them feel better about their tax situation. Who knew? It surprised the hell out of me.
because I thought for sure that I would never touch accounting again, because I thought I thought it was the job that was making it bad. It turned out it was me that was making it bad. Which is what's really, really cool is, then you come to the realization that, wait a second, we should never judge the job that we're doing, whatever job or function we have in society. If you are called to do that work, your misery in the work is your problem, not the job's problem. Because if you're doing good work and you are helping raise the vibration, or you're just helping society operate from the garbage man all the way up to the CEO of a company, you are doing your work. Whether or not you're miserable doing it is your choice. You can be, because there was this one guy I met whose job was to clean porta pots. You think that would be the worst job in the world. Well, he was a Gulf War vet, and while he was in the Gulf War, he lost his ability to smell anything. And he was making good money, and he was doing a job, and he, whatever, for him, it was nothing. And he was a happy man, cleaning porta pots for a living. So that was a choice. And he could also have taken his disability or his injury and been miserable about it. But he turned it into a positive. So I was like, man, you got it, man. That was so cool. So it becomes a choice. And so just to go on with my story a little bit, I was doing taxes for a while and enjoying it, and then I got an opportunity to be the manager of an H&R Block office. And, from day one, I was like, now I have an opportunity to put everything I practice into a real life situation and actually see if it works. Because, it's one thing to preach to people how it works. It's another thing altogether to actually put your feet to the pavement and actually make it work. And I'm happy to say that in the last year, I have transformed that office. Now, again, I haven't done it. It was me and my helpers, but whatever. Putting in the positive vortexes and whatever. Because it was a very negative place when I first took over. And I've now got people working for me who love to be there, who want to be there. I've got clients coming in who want to be there and want to work with me, and they're not trying to get me to cheat the government. Because when I first started out there, I had a guy coming in, and he wanted me to find as many loopholes as I can, so that way he wouldn't have to pay taxes. And what he wanted me to do was illegal. And I was like, so sorry, you're going to leave now. I don't get those kind of people anymore. They don't come in anymore. Why? Because I've created a environment that is not an energetic match to those people anymore. Those people they don't even see it. It's like it doesn't even exist. These people call up our office and like, where are you located? We're right next to the Hannaford and the Petco. Like, really? I didn't think anything was there. And then I know they are not an energetic match because they would have known I was there. We got a big sign. So, is it where I want it to be right now? Not yet. But we're still doing the work because it is a slow process. Eventually, it'll get there. It's so exciting. Even with the ASD as a trustees and whatever, we're doing that same kind of work, raising the vibration, and the proof is in the numbers. We're doing great. Or better. It's not exactly where we want it yet. That's okay. It's a process. And each step along the way, and that's part of healing too. Negative energy doesn't leave without a fight. And so a lot of people forget about that, because when I first raised the vibration of that office, within 2 months, I had 2 employees quit. I had a break-in where somebody threw a trash can through my damn window. And the thing is, I could have chosen at that point to be mad about it or think, oh my God, I've just made it worse. Oh my God, what I do. But I was like, oh, thank God. That's the negative energy leaving. And it's trying to put up with a fight. And it's trying to get a rise out of me. It's trying to make me mad. It's like, haha, I know what you are. You're a negative energy leaving. See ya. See ya. You're out of here. And you get to take that attitude. So when you're going through, every one of you are going through a healing process, because we're all going through a healing process. And while you're going through that healing process, you're going to experience moments where things are going to seem really, really bad. Rejoice, celebrate those setbacks, because those setbacks are just the universe, is just those negative energies giving you that one last, I'm here, damn it. And you're like, oh, you can punch me if you want. See ya. You're going to leave now. It's pretty cool. Okay. Questions about the Abraham-Hicks Emotional Scale. On the back are all of these little exercises. So I recommend, if you want to try some of these exercises, they're actually really, really cool. I recommend getting the book and reading it. But if there is a particular exercise on there you would like an explanation of what it is and how it applies, and the dots on the chart here is just after you douse where you are on the emotional scale, these are the recommended exercises to help you out with. Now, some of these you can use for any part on the emotional scale. But, some of them obviously are meant for higher levels than others. Any questions on any of these? One of my favorite ones is pivoting. Pivoting is a great one for if something is... Pivoting is remember that Seinfeld episode where George Costanza decides, okay, whatever my knee-jerk reaction is, I'm going to do the opposite. And then by the end of the episode, he was managing the New York Yankees. That's pivoting. He decided to pivot. He decided to do whatever he thought, whatever he believed was going to be his normal reaction. He decided to do the opposite of that, and good things happened. He decided, he thought, no, I'm never going to apply for that manager job at the New York Yankees. And he was like, wait a second, no, I'm going to apply for that job. And then he meet with Steinbrenner, there, the owner of the team, and the old George would have been very, oh no, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. Instead, he's like, no, I'm going to tell you what I think's wrong with your team. And at the end of it, he's like, hire that man. Yes?
I missed the very beginning, so maybe you've already gone over this. How do you actually use the chart?
Okay, with the pendulum. So you start with a question. And the question, and the more specific the question, the more specific the answer is going to be. So you ask a question of, where am I right now with fill in the blank? Where am I in my manifestation? Where is my emotional set point? Okay, so you ask where am I gave the example of cleaning my bathroom. Where's my emotional set point? I'm cleaning my bathroom, and my emotional set point was at anger, which makes perfect sense to me because I'm angry at it.
Yeah, can we back up one more step?
Sure.
Where do you hold the pendulum?
Oh, where I hold the pendulum. The bottom, where that little dot on the bottom, you hold it just above there, okay? And again, you have to clear yourself of the answer. You have to just say, whatever will be, will be. Because you can guess where you're at, but that's not what the whole point of the dowsing is. The dowsing is to say, give me the right answer here, and I don't care what that answer is right now. At that moment when you're doing the dowsing, let go of any attachment to the answer. It's whatever the answer is going to be is the answer it's going to be. And then just wait for the pendulum to swing in the direction of the chart of that it's going to be. And that's basically how any kind of fan chart works. You hold it in front of the fan. Now, there are also circular charts as well. When you're using a chart that's a circle, that takes a little bit more of a touch when it comes to your pendulum, because when it's going back and forth, it could be over here or it could be over here. Well, which one is it? There it takes a little bit more of a touch. You have to feel for the pull. And again, it's a nuanced way of doing it, which is why generally when we're training new dowsers in this field, we start with fan charts because they're a lot easier to read. That makes sense? Yes.
Let's say now you've established where you are right now.
Yes.
How do you practically raise your
Vibration?
vibrations to be at what you would call in right?
Higher vibration.
How do you raise your vibration?
Okay, so the question is, once you've established the emotional set point, what do you do to raise the vibration? Is there a specific protocol? You could try one of these exercises in the back to raise the vibration. You can also ask, and that is actually it's a very interesting thing, because doing the exercise is a very conscious effort to do it, and some people are more comfortable with a conscious effort. You can also ask. And who are you asking? You're asking your guides, you're asking your high self, please put me in a higher vibration space when it comes to this particular issue. Or you can say, and if you go back and you're still in the same place, then you can investigate it by going to other dowsing protocols, where it will give you more of a narrative, it tell you a story of why you are where you are. For example, if you are asking a question about a relationship with a significant other, and you put it there and you're kind of low on the scale, and you try one of the exercises, you're still low on the scale, well, chances are there's something there's more to that story. It's more than just imagineering a better relationship, because there's another person involved. There's something going on that's more than that. And at that point, you would go to another chart system, or you would see somebody like me or whatever to investigate and dig deeper into what the root problem is. When I was seeing somebody yesterday, they were asking me, what is the solution? Can the chart give me a solution? And the answer is no, the chart doesn't give solutions. It gives you opportunities to change the story. What the result of that story is going to be a higher vibration of where you're at, and be happy with that. And take joy in that your story is about to change. Does that make sense? Am I following? Is everybody following? Take joy in the fact that your story, your loop, is about to change. Be a higher vibration story. And let go of any result of what that story is actually going to be. To go back to the relationship example, say you're having problems with your significant other, and you want to be in a higher vibration space. And your knee jerk or whatever what your desire or what you think that's going to look like is, okay, my significant other is going to stop drinking, or they're going to, their whatever habit is creating this problem is going to magically disappear. Well, that's a possibility. He could also leave. That would be a higher vibration situation. Because now you are no longer an energetic match. You are up there, they're down here. You're not there anymore. And unless they can meet you where you're at, and again, you can't change somebody else, you can only change you. You only have control over you. So if they're down here and you're up here, then chances are that relationship ain't working out. And going your separate ways may be the right answer. We don't know. Again, you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with whatever the result is going to be the best possible result, because you've raised your vibration. You know it's going to be right because you've raised your vibration. You've brought in a better life outcome, a higher desire, a higher manifestation. And be okay with that, however it turns out. And expect there to be sparks sometimes, because negative energy does not leave without a fight. But just trust that you are in a higher vibration space right now. And the healing is going to begin. And when that healing is happening, it's going to hurt, because healing hurts. A lot of people don't want to hear that. I'm already in pain. Why does healing hurt? Healing always hurts, because you have to, in order for you to get that pain off, you got to rip that Band-Aid off and allow the wound to heal. Give it permission to heal. That make sense? Yes?
So along with that, so for example, if you're feeling like a relationship just isn't working, you just don't know what or why,
Yeah.
will this help you specify?
This particular chart, okay, the question is, okay, so you don't know what or why. Will this chart actually help you understand what's wrong with the relationship? This chart is one tool in a pantheon of tools. This will tell you where you're at emotionally in the manifestation of the relationship. There's more to the story. And again, we only had time to do one chart here. So this is, again, if you go to my healing booth, this is one page of lots of pages. Again, so when I'm doing the dowsing, and that's what the cool thing about going to all these talks and whatever. I see a lot of people walking around with lots of charts. It's great. You are building your pantheon. You're building your toolkit. This is one piece of your toolkit. This should not be the end all be all of your toolkit. This is one piece to tell you where you're at emotionally in your manifestation. If your relationship is in trouble, this will tell you where you're at in it in terms of your emotional set point, but it won't necessarily tell you why. It can give you some strategies on how to get yourself to a higher emotional set point, but it still won't tell you why. Other charts will tell you why.
And how do you find out what those other charts are?
You ask. You ask. So say you have, that's what I do when I sit down and do the Akashic Dowsing. I put in my mind a number system. I got 3 major systems I work with and about 3 or 4 minor systems that I work with. Okay, so I go 1, 2. Which protocol am I being called to? And it'll tell me which protocol I'm being called to. Okay, what sub-protocol in that protocol am I being called to? Because every protocol has a sub-protocol. And eventually it narrows it down to one set of charts or one chart that will give me a piece of the puzzle. And then I say, is there more? Yes, there's more. Then I go do the whole process all over again. And I take notes as I go along. And eventually a pattern emerges. A narrative emerges.
But you have to know what those other things are to ask.
Well, you're not asking follow-up questions. You're still asking the same question. So as you start with one intention, you're starting with one specific focus. Okay, I am feeling stuck in my relationship with my significant other, and I'm not sure why I'm feeling stuck. Okay, specific question. I want to know where the answer is. Okay, so say you're guided to the emotional scale. Well, the emotional scale says you're in a low set point. Okay, that's one piece of the puzzle. Then you're guided to another chart that says that your ability to manifest is improving. Okay, say it's a chart. It's more of a spiritual chart system. There are chart systems that are scientific based. There are charts that are spiritual, more spiritual. There's lots of different charts out there. Some will speak to you, some will not. If you have a chart system, someone says, "Oh, I love this chart system," and they put it in front of you, and it's all Greek to you, don't use it, because you're not going to be able to interpret it. Use something you can interpret. And in last year's talk, I talked about using your own personal library, because you picked all those books for a reason. So if you say that you don't have a whole lot of charts, and the pendulum's saying, no, it's not on any of the charts you have, and you're like, oh, great, now I'm lost. Well, is it in one of the books I own? Oh, wait a second, it is. What book is it? Okay, is it in the bookshelf in my den, my bedroom, or whatever, wherever you got books? Okay, it's in the den. Okay, I'm going to go into the den. Okay, I got 2 shelves. Which one is it on? 1 or 2? Oh, it's on shelf number 2. Okay, which shelf? It's on 3rd shelf. Okay, right, left, center. Oh, it's on the left. Okay, is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? And then you're waiting for your yes, no. Okay, it's this one. Great. Pull the book out. How many pages are in that book? Okay, there's 300 pages of that book. Then you imagine a number line in front of you. Which page is it on? Is it on 0, 1, 2, 3 for the hundreds, 0 through 9 for the tens and whatever? And okay, all right, open up the book. There's 5 paragraphs on it. Which paragraph is it? Read the paragraph. That is your answer. And again, that method blows me away every single time, because it's never come up to a blank page. Sometimes it requires some imagination and interpretation, because the book can be anything. It could be a Stephen King novel, or it can be Eckhart Tolle. Who knows? Whatever that paragraph is exactly what you need to hear in that moment in relation to that question. And again, sometimes you'll have to meditate on it. Sometimes you'll have to think about it. Most of the time, you're like, oh my God. How didn't I know that? Because it was hiding in the subconscious, and now it's coming out. You had a question? Yes?
Yeah, the chart on the flip side.
Yeah.
I don't know which side is the flip, but where it has the processes.
Yeah.
The dots in the different places.
Yes.
Would that be clear by going to the book?
Okay.
Or what does that mean?
So the question is, on the chart in the back, there's the dots. The dots are recommendations from Abraham on which emotional scale exercise will work best.
Okay.
And you can take that with a grain of salt.
So if you found yourself, let's say, in lane 15, then you'd go across.
Yep.
And then process 5 might be recommended.
Yep.
Whichever one the dots are in.
Yes, so yeah, so the question here is for the benefit of the people live streaming. So say you're on 5, optimism, and so you can go to process 1, 2, or all the way up through process number 14. Which one do you pick? Pick the one that jumps out at you. Pick the one that where your eye dowsing sees, your body dowsing sees that is the most important one, or the one that's most fun to you. And that's the other thing. You pick the one that's the most fun. And maybe you want to try something different, one you never tried before. And then just pick one. If you're absolutely lost, I don't know which one to pick. I'm in a low emotional state. I can't choose anything to save my life. Douse it. Douse it. So, imagine the number line. Process number 4. Oh, process number 14. That's the one I need to go to? Excellent. What is process number 14? Process number 14 is the process of clearing clutter for clarity. Clearing clutter for clarity is where you are going through the stuff in your house, because when you live in a cluttered environment, it does cause emotional blocks. So you go through your house. You're like, okay, well, this may have nothing to do with my relationship stuff here, but I've got something that is cluttering my brain, and part of that clutter is my clutter. So I'm going to take a big box of clutter, and I'm going to sort through it, and oh my goodness. Wait a second, I've thrown away some stuff, and wow, my brain is clear. Holy moly. Or when you're going through the box, you see something that reminds you of some kind of trauma or happy memory or whatever, and oh my gosh, who knew? And again, that would be the exercise. And again, you wouldn't have never even imagined of doing that exercise had you not have dowsed it, and then, oh my God, it was the exact right thing I needed to do right this particular moment. Okay? All right. I got the 5-minute warning, so if does anybody else have any further questions? Good time for maybe one more question? Okay. Well, I am going to be, this afternoon, I have a workshop where we're going to be using another one, we're going to be teaching one of the dowsing protocols in more depth, which is the twin flame within restructuring protocol, which uses the Chinese cosmology, so that's what I'm doing this afternoon. And also, I am available in the Wellness Center. If you would like to have a session with me, I have an open slot at 11 today, and then obviously if I can't be teaching a workshop and being at the Wellness Center at the same time, but tomorrow I'm here all day if you want to sit down with me and see this process work, so that way you can get an idea of how you can do it at home, and be prepared to be surprised.
Akashic readings, is that what they call them?
Yes, Akashic readings. And I use Akashic Dowsing, that's the term I use. I came up with that because Robert Detzler, who wrote the spiritual response therapy protocol, always called it, he called it spiritual response therapy, but he said you were going into the Akashic Dowsing, you're into the Akashic records. And so, okay, I was like, all right. So when I would go to events or whatever, people would ask, what do? I do spiritual response therapy. What's that? It's dowsing of the Akashic record. It became too many words. So I was like, okay, we're just going to call it Akashic Dowsing. It's dowsing, it's Akashic. And it stuck. Now I got other people calling themselves Akashic Dowsers, which I think is pretty cool. All right. Thank you so much for being a very attentive audience, and I'll see you around.
Did you ever think about writing a book about
I've got 4
what
books.
the options, all the options are? Because you have to know what the options are in order to doubt which ones you're going to use. And if you don't know, like I just learned this one.
Yeah.
And maybe there's 20 others I have no idea of.
You just douse it.
But I can't douse it if I never heard of it.
Well, then what you do is you ask the universe to provide you with what you need to hear, what you need to find. So you like go through the bookstore, or you go to and you see a protocol that calls out to you. You ask, I want a dowsing protocol that speaks to me, that will give me the answers that I am looking for, that is best attuned to my energy right now. So you set that intention. You will find it.
Last time I did that, I came out with 30 books.
30. You came up. Oh, that was.
I didn't narrow it enough.
You didn't narrow it down enough. You're looking, and so again, you have to ask. Just like if I said, I want 5 car. I have a choice of 5 vehicles that I feel good about. Well, I'm not walking out of that dealership with 5 vehicles. I just needed 1. I want 1 protocol. Okay, and don't leave the bookstore without one. Only leave with 1 protocol. Don't leave with if you narrowed it down to 3 and you're like, well, okay, they're cheap, I can buy them all. No, you asked for 1, and if you are truly stuck, break out your pendulum and say, which one?
Yeah, but it still would be helpful to know what the field is of possible protocols that you could.
There are so many.
Yes. So,
There are so many.
well, is there
Thank you.
something that tells about what they are? Like, if there's 25
Well-
protocols that can be used, there may be others, but I mean.
And the thing is,
why-
well, okay, let me put it this way.
Problem.
Well, it's not a problem. It has a solution. One thing you can be confident about is most protocols are all variations on the same theme. Just like all healing is all about What feels good, what does not, like all emotions, is what feels good, what does not feel good. It really is that simple. Now, a lot of chart systems are steeped in an enormous amount of lore. That you have to read like 10 books just to understand what the heck the charts say. The spiritual response therapy charts are like that. They are an enormously complicated system that takes years to master. I don't recommend that. I recommend choosing one that already speaks to your strengths. And how do you know which one's going to speak to your strength and whatever?
But you have to know they exist. And if you don't know,
But they all exist.
but where, it's not-
They exist.
the problem.
No, they exist. Believe it.
I believe they
You-
exist. How do I find out what they are?
You ask the universe to present it to you. Pay attention to the subtle clues of what the universe is providing you. Say, I know it exists. I know it's out there. I know it's right for me. Be there. Now, it might not happen immediately. It may not happen in some neat little time frame that you're looking for. Be there for me. Present yourself to me. Find me. Tell it to
I've
find.
done that before, and it's shown up before. So,
Well, that's good. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
okay.
Believe it.
Still
Don't
better.
let go. Don't doubt it. Don't fear that it's not going to happen or whatever. Because if you fear it, if you fear that you're never going to find it, that is exactly what's going to happen. You'll never find it.
So you just
Let go of the fear. Let go of results. And because fearing results is the death sentence of all dowsing. If you are afraid that you're not going to find that water well, you are afraid that you're not going to find the right answer, you will not find it. It will elude you because your fear is going to outweigh your joy. Just believe it's going to happen, and having little successes here and there. Because this is a big question, start with little questions. Go to the grocery store and say, okay, which melon is going to be the ripest and the juiciest and the tastiest, and rejoice in those little victories. You're welcome.
Because it's just override fear.
Yeah.
Just say, oh, fear, or as the guy said, fear, take the fear away.
Yeah. What feels good? What does not feel good? And go with what feels good.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You could ask it to take the fear away.
Yeah, you can ask.